Hello and welcome to the Modern Mystic radio show on A1R Psychic Radio, the world's #1 psychic radio network, and Moonstruck TV. I'm your host, Saira, and I'm going to be with you for the next 30 minutes. We will be taking some callers, so please dial in. I am not on my own today. I do have a very special guest. I'm really excited to welcome this person onto my show. We have a spiritualist consultant, author and teacher, and her name is Maxine Reading. Hi, Maxine. How are you?
Hi, Sarah. I'm fine, thank you. I'm in the middle of a snowstorm in America, but through the technology of our age, we can so.
Absolutely, and it's a real pleasure to have you on. So tell us a little bit about your story, how you realised that you had the wonderful abilities of a medium.
As a teenager, I would go to various churches, and I stumbled in on some spiritualist churches, and I thought, this is the coolest thing ever. You know, they are speaking my language, and they can do some of the things I can do, and some of the things they do I think are really cool. And so as a teenager, I started to go to spiritualist churches. And then life got in the way. We talked earlier, I had a little, about 9 years in the Army, which is about as unspiritual as you can get. And then slowly I found my way back to my spiritual journey. And it has led me to England. It has led me to Scandinavia. It has led me to Lilydale in America. And through it all, I have come to appreciate the rich heritage of our movement and all the things in it. It's not something that just started 20 years ago. No, it's been going on for hundreds of years.
Absolutely. And you have studied extensively within this area, haven't you?
Yes. I was at Harvard Divinity School for a while, and that was a real journey. They welcomed me as a spiritualist. I have a degree in religion from Harvard, and there's a place in the U.S. called the Rhine Center at Duke, where they studied parapsychology since the 1930s. And I got a certificate in parapsychology as well, so I could have a much broader understanding of the phenomena and the science involved.
And is that your fascination, is trying to understand the ability and the nature of spirit, I suppose?
Absolutely. You know, my first spiritual teacher talked about ectoplasm and it forming an artificial voice box. And I was like, how do you know that? How do you know that? How do we know that? And she may not have known, but I went through all the books, and sure enough, I found where all this information comes from and all this testing comes from. And so I was never one to take somebody's word for it. I wanted to know how, I wanted to know where, I wanted to know why it all worked.
And one of the things that I noticed on your website, where you talked about reaching the superior condition from a medium to a mystic. Can you explain what that is?
Yes, one of my teachers turned me on to that, and sure enough, I researched it as well. And it goes back to a person called Andrew Jackson Davis in America in the 1850s, 1860s. And they wrote and spoke in such an archaic language. We don't really know what the superior condition means. However, from my research, I pretty much know that he is talking about trance, and he is talking about an altered state of consciousness that you see in Buddhists, you see in other religions. This is not woo-woo, just altered state of consciousness just for us crazy spiritualists. Every religion has this type of communion with the divine, or because that's what Kabbalah, the Jewish mysticism is not just know God, but to blend with the divine. And this may not be the superior condition, but I believe the superior condition is more of the umbrella word that we know of as trance, or the altered state of consciousness.
And would you class yourself as a medium or a mystic?
Absolutely. And a seeker on top of that. I do give readings, but not very often. And mystic, I think, is, I love it that you're called a mystic, and how you portray yourself as a seeker and as a worker in this way. I think that shaman, is a word that not many people can grasp onto, but also that is as well. So yes, I'm a mystic. I'm a medium. I'm a researcher. I'm a seeker.
And you've also written many books on the subject as well, haven't you?
Yes. About 10 years ago, in my journey of research, I would be reading all these books. I'd buy them from eBay. I'd buy all these old books when I could. And I not only read them, I underlined and I put notes in the column, and I circled things on pages, because I know a page in this book had something to do with another book. And so I started to compile all of the stories of mediumship. And I didn't know it would be a 2-volume book at the time, but I categorized all these old stories that were in these books and substantiated and yet forgotten. So Great Moments of Modern Mediumship, volumes 1 and 2. And then I'm also very passionate about what the great mediums of the past have told us and have taught us. I'm kind of old school.
Yeah.
When people say, "Oh, I've got guardian angels," or "I've got an ET from Mars that helps me," whatever, I respect their belief, but this is not what has been in the literature and in our history. So I also wrote 2 very small books, What the Great Mediums Have Told Us About Spiritual Healing. And if you're into Reiki or spiritual healing, it's all there. And not from my words, but from what did Harry Edwards say about absentee healing? What did George Chapman say about instant healing? And so I also have some books, What the Great Mediums Have Taught Us About Spiritual Healing and Spirit Guides. And I also have a fun little book about coffee tessiography. In the UK, they read tea leaves. Well, in other parts of the world, they read coffee grounds. And I love coffee more than tea. So I put together this fun little book about that as well. So my writing just covers mediumship and history, as well as the psychic art of reading coffee.
Oh, that sounds absolutely amazing, and I can't wait to read them. We are going to go on to a caller in a moment, but before I do that, I'd like to give you the opportunity of letting everybody know how they could contact you directly if they wanted either a reading or to find out more about what your work is at the moment.
Sure. I'm redoing my website, but it is moderndayseer.com. But I'd rather people contact me through my ubiquitous email, which is Desert Maxine, one word, DESERTMAXINE, Desert Maxine @hotmail.com.
Wonderful. And also, I'm really curious to find out, because each medium works slightly differently and we experience things slightly differently. And I'm just curious as to how you experience those messages when they come through.
Well, I give the analogy of mining, okay? Yeah, digging in the earth and trying to get something out. The initial contact with a client is the hardest, but I consider them like the earth, and I have to get into their energy. And then when I don't know what I'm going to be looking for or wanting to find, but that say on the psychic level, I talk about relationships or finance. Well, then again, to use that mining analogy, I drill down on what I most find out, whether it's and hit upon, whether it be finance or relationships or jobs or whatever. And I drill down and really tap that out. They may want to talk about something else, and I just say, well, wait 1 minute here. I've got the mother lode. I've got to mine it dry, and then that will increase the contact that we have between us, and then I can go on to something else. So I equate it like the analogy of mining, and then, but once I do have a good contact with someone, if they do have a question, then I have that link established that I can go into the area that they want to talk about or that they want to find out about. And it's the same thing with a mediumistic link. You know, sometimes the spirit person wants to talk about something, and I just let it go, you know, let that work out, and then go into something else. So it's like an analogy of mining.
Well, let's go through to our first caller. Thank you so much for explaining how you work. So we have Emily, who is in Leicester, England. Hello, Emily. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Hi, Emily. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's lovely to have you on the show. I'm going to pass you over to Maxine, who's going to do your reading for you. Is there anything in particular you would like to ask Maxine, or you'd like Maxine to look at for you tonight?
If I'll ever find love.
Oh, I have the greatest sympathy for these relationship questions, and I don't poo-poo them at all, because that is so heartfelt, and that most of the times it does come from your soul level. So, Emily, before I talk about that, I want to talk about your finances, because I believe I'm in your finances, and if I'm with you, Emily, I'll put it in a nice way. A bit of discipline would go a long way, as opposed to getting more money from more opportunities. I feel as if you may not have the amount that you want, but if I could say this in a not so nice way, that's cut out the waste in your money. Does that resonate with you?
Yes, I don't have a lot of money, but hardly, if that makes sense.
All right. Well, I'm telling you from what I'm getting about your energy. Look at how you're spending it, and discipline is the word, dear. Self-control, and I don't want to use the word budget too much, but you would understand discipline with your money going a long way. Now, Emily, I will get to your relationship right now. I don't feel as if you've had satisfactory relationships in a while. Is this correct?
Yes.
And I feel as if there was something in the past that didn't play out quite. And it's like almost, the best relationship in my life, but it really wasn't, really complete or blossomed. Can you accept that?
Yes.
All right. Now, as I go forward with you, Emily, I say, girl, and as I looking at your energy, I am, the more I talk with you, the more I really like you. And the more I really, really want to get into your energy and to say, you're a good mate. You're a good soul. You're a good heart. You're, would be a good companion. And I feel as if this is 2019. If I can make a prediction going further this year, you will have a relationship, and you will have, if I could say it this way, you will have something to work with. You will have something to work with. Is it, jumping off the moon and the stars exploding in love? No, but you'll have something to work with. And you are the type of person, you're the type of soul, you're the type of giving, sharing, caring individual that you will take this and be able to do something with it. Okay? Would you accept that from me? Okay?
Yeah.
And I don't know if Sarah's going to cut in here or not. She can at any moment, but I'm also feeling as if, Emily, your mother is in spirit. Is this correct?
What did you say again? Sorry.
I'm feeling as if your mother is in spirit, because I feel as if there was a mother figure, an older woman who really worked herself to the last days. Very hardworking, almost manual labor. No work was beneath her, and she would be in the spirit side of life for you. Can you accept this person? Would you know who it is?
I don't know.
No? Okay. Well, let me hand it over to Saira then, and
okay.
See if. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, really, I do feel that Maxine's covered much of what I'm picking up for you as well, Emily. One of the things that I feel needs to sort of shift and change with you is the element of how you feel about being on your own. Okay, I feel like there has been quite rightly said by Maxine, this gap here in your love life. And I feel like at the moment you're kind of fed up with it, if that makes sense. I want to give you, I mean, there is this relationship coming in. Again, I do feel like it is something that you are going to be able to work with that person in terms of building a relationship going forwards. And I do want to give you the month of April at the moment around this. Okay. I feel that you could, when I'm looking at this, almost like change the energy, or maybe even bring it earlier, if you wanted, if you could harness that energy of feeling comfortable with your present state. Okay, so it's about feeling comfortable now, having the anticipation, the excitement about a relationship coming in. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
Okay, now we're going to have to go on to our next caller. So thank you very much, Emily. And I just want to go through to Melanie, who is in Yardley, Pennsylvania. Hi, Melanie. Can you hear me?
Hi. Yes, I can.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. This is going to have to be a relatively quick reading, so I'm going to pass you over to Maxine. Do you have a question for Maxine today?
My question is just any guidance towards my relationship. Is my relationship going to go anywhere?
Again, I'll get to that in a second, but I do feel as if what's going on in your life, the energy that's really taking off is work and creativity. Okay, so yes, love life is important and relationships are important, but I feel as if there's a priority in this next year of riding a creative energy at work, better opportunities, even, how do they say it? More than one opportunity at the same time, concurrent opportunities. So it's as if you're going to be very busy in a creative, working business type of way. Now, I feel as if this energy really takes off, the relationship that you have might be put to one side. And it's not a bad thing. I'm saying ride the energy of your life instead. And so that may not be the answer that you want to hear, but I take it as very positive in other things that are going on in your life right now.
Perfect. That sounds like a great answer for me.
Okay.
So are you happy with that? Or is there anything else you'd like to ask?
I am happy with that. I do. I guess when I'm asking in regards to the relationship, what I'm trying to find out is, I know my work and creativity and everything else will, of course, come first. I've come too far to let go. But is the person I'm with...
I don't want to jump in here, but I am going to jump in here. The energy of your voice, I really want to put you with someone who has your core values, okay? And, you know, you have to make a hard decisions as well. Is this other person sharing my core values?
Correct. Yep. Okay, that was pretty much what I guess I'm looking for, is just to find out, am I wasting time, or are we going to be able to build something together? And
my feeling, if I could just sort of interrupt very quickly here, I've pulled out a few cards for you, and this is what I'm trying to focus on here with you. And there isn't anything particularly blocking this relationship. You know, my feeling here is that it might be slightly difficult to navigate around this person to gauge what they're thinking and what they're feeling, because I feel that it's like I feel like they're not particularly open emotionally, or as open as you. Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes perfect sense.
So, but what I have got here is a sense of commitment around the relationship going forwards. But I do feel that there needs to be a little bit more sort of, I want to say working together, but this is more in the sense of actually bringing this out of him, if that makes sense. So yep. I feel that the relationship is, I feel that because of his lack of communication, I feel like, you know, that in itself could actually be problematic within the relationship, because you're not really understanding each other. So you could get the wrong end of the stick, basically. Okay.
Right.
Now, what I do feel, you know, is this is a relationship that's worth sticking with, because I feel that this person that you've got at the moment, once they commit to a relationship, actually they're there for good. Okay, so I hope that does ease your mind.
Yes, that does. That was perfect. Okay.
Thank you so much for coming through, and thank you, Maxine. It's been an absolute pleasure. I have loads more questions I'd love to ask you, and hopefully we'll get you back on the show again. It would be wonderful if you could join us again.
Thank you, Sarah, and thank you all who have listened.
Oh, thank you. You take care. And thank you, everybody, for listening. Stay tuned for lots more shows. And I'll see you the same time next week on A1R Psychic Radio. Goodbye for now.